Greetings, friends. This is the second in our series of videos talking about the basic construct of emotions. In this video, we're going to talk about the basic characteristics of emotions. In our last video, we introduced this diagram and talked about how that emotions are what stand in between our values and beliefs about what will satisfy us and important objects in our lives. For this video, we're going to concentrate on this definition right here. Emotions are judgments about objects which we view as important for our well-being, or to use a more technical word, for our flourishing. Not just a sense of happiness or joy, but deep and profound sense of satisfaction. So we will take apart this phrase. Emotions are judgments. They are decisions about objects in our world which contribute to our flourishing or to our well-being. So, as the first part of the definition suggests, first of all, an emotion is a final decision, a decision that we make about something in our life, some object in our life that presents itself to us. And we make this judgment according to a set of standards that we've accumulated literally over the course of a lifetime. Now, we're not generally aware of these standards. They come to us through a number of different sources, from our culture, from our parents, our friends. Some of them we form quite creatively. But these standards exist nonetheless. And it's these standards which are the formation or the foundation of our judgment. You think about something that you've already decided that you will or won't value. When you see something in your environment, you've already made a decision about what kind of thing you will value, and so you either value or you do not value that. And different people have different standards of what they will value. So for some people, seeing a diamond ring will make their hearts go aflutter. For other people, seeing a diamond ring will make them, run the other direction. For some people, money is an object of great affection, and they'll do anything to get it. For other people, they see that other things in life are more important, and money won't make any difference to them at all. So you have a set of standards, and you use that to most unconsciously, or a process that we're usually not generally aware of, to make a decision about that object. And it is an object that we usually have an emotion about. It's a person. It could be a project, going skiing or working on something around the house or at work. It could be even an idea. I love philosophy, or I love literature. It's not something that isn't actually tangible, but it's something that exists independent of our mind. We can have an emotion about that. It could be a loved one, a person that we like hanging around with, a work of art, state of affairs. I love peace. Some people love conflict. A set of circumstances, but we can even have an emotion about ourselves. So these emotions are generally about objects in our world, and usually they're about another person, which are the strongest emotions that we have. But it's not just an emotion about an object. It's an emotion is about an object which contributes to our well-being. It contributes to a sense of satisfaction in the world. So in order for an emotion to be created in us, in order for us to create emotion, it must deliver something that we need. Or on the contrary, it could be a negative emotion, a repulsing emotion, something that threatens something that we value. So we are indifferent to people that we just meet on the road, but we see a very good friend, and our hearts go aflutter. If one girl smiles at us, we could probably care less. If another girl smiles at us, absolutely makes our day, our week, our month, and sometimes even that special person can make their whole life. Two college football teams in the same town. One team wins, the other team loses. One team makes no difference. The other team, it can ruin a good weekend. So as we mentioned in our last video, at the heart of what emotions are doing is trying to connect us with objects in our world that will satisfy one of our needs, or again, keep us away from objects in the world that can threaten us. So what can bring us safety and security? What objects can do that well? A weapon of self-defense can do that. We can develop an emotion about that. We can long to have the safety of a home, a roof over our heads, because it provides us with security. We love the objects that help us to feel like we belong somewhere, an institution or a church or a family. We look for objects that can boost our ego, an award, a diploma, degree, or some kind of special symbol of recognition. Or we can love those things that bring us what Maslow calls self-actualization, a profound sense of purpose in life, achievement of in a career or something like that. So once we see these objects, once we see these objects in our world, then what an emotion does is incites us to act. I think Robert Solomon, in his book on the passions, puts it quite well. He says that emotion doesn't consist of any particular behavior or episode, but an indefinitely complex, multi-tracked disposition to act. That is the very heart of the word emotion, is it helps you or incites you to actually do something about the situation that you find yourself in, to move towards something and move away towards something. But that's not the whole story. Sometimes emotions gear us up for inaction. And in this sense, we can actually think of these emotions not necessarily as being destructive. What might be destructive in our world is a set of circumstances that we find ourselves in. But actually, and I'm not talking about acute forms of depression or something that actually, might actually need to be dealt with by a professional, mental health professional. But in some sense of the word, even depression can be a helpful emotion. Because it's the soul saying to itself, there's something that is so profoundly wrong that you're not going to do anything else until you take care of it. I don't mean to minimize depression. I'm sure all of us have had bouts with, the blues or maybe even significant depression and maybe even clinical depression. But for the most part, depression can be seen positively as a way of focusing the individual on one thing that needs to be taken care of before they can return to well-being. So, what kind of action does emotion gear us up towards? Well, emotion of love motivates us to share or to be with or to touch somebody. The motivation of anger motivates us to want to punish somebody who's done us wrong. Hatred, hurt, shame. We want to redeem ourselves and make things better and put things right. We're embarrassed, we want to hide. Gratitude, thankful, we want to go out and write a note to somebody, tell them what they did was very special for us. But these are just a few examples of the way that emotions gear us up for a particular kind of action. So you can see what Nussbaum is saying when she says emotions are upheavals of thought. Another way of saying is emotions are empowered thought. They're thoughts that actually have an oomph to them, that motivate us to take some kind of action. They have a structure to them that's intelligible. We can actually pull apart. That's what this course is all about, is pulling apart emotions and taking a close look at them. What distinguishes emotions from just a regular old thought, a lot of thoughts just fly through our head during the course of a day, but they are empowered thoughts. They carry with them the inclination to act. So the difference between an act and emotion is that an act, or a thought, between a thought and emotion is a thought. Once you, it doesn't require any movement from you. But an emotion you will feel inside you physiologically. An inclination to act. So let's take a look at this sequence here and see if we can see what actually happens inside of a person who all of a sudden experiences an emotion. As a note here that it's kind of tricky because it seems to happen all at once, but it actually has a little sequence to it. For example, something in our world becomes unstable. Say a coworker makes a derogatory comment about a performance to our superior. Somebody says something bad about us. We instantly might become angry, and we seek out the offending party to set things right. Depending on our habit, we could have any number of conversations, but the sequence that led that upwards could be lost on us. But it does happen pretty much in this order nonetheless. So the route might not be aware of, but it goes something like this. You have values and beliefs, and strategies about how to secure satisfaction for your life, and they involve, good rapport at work. There's the offense. Something happens, and you perceive that offense. You evaluate that according to your standards and beliefs. This person did me wrong. I have to go set it right. You make a judgment. This is a bad thing. The emotion sets inside of you and causes you to want to act. You make a decision about how to act, and then you act. So you experience a sequence almost instantaneously, and it is interconnected. And it's interconnected so much that we might even think, wow, that person made me angry. But actually, in all honesty, if we're very honest with ourselves, is we made ourselves angry. So again, this sequence is important to come to terms with, is our understanding of emotions. We have values and beliefs, but what's important, we see something in our world, we react to it, we make a judgment of it. Once we make the judgment, an emotion kicks in and causes us to act. So Robert Solomon, in his book on the passions, lists, I think, well over 100 different kinds of emotions and the different values and beliefs that lie at the heart of it, and what we do as a result of it. We will take time a little bit later, but each one of these emotions has with it a certain set of behaviors that are normally associated with it. You feel compassion, you want to reach out and touch or caress or hold somebody. If you're angry, sometimes your fist involuntarily clutches because you're mad and you want to set something right, sometimes even physically so. Anxiety, if you are anxious, your body starts to give you a generalized kind of a feeling, start to move, and you're anxious, you can't be at rest because you know you're supposed to be doing something, and so on and so forth. So as we said, this course's best textbook is yourself. So what I would like for you to do is to take a few minutes and list a few emotions that you have, you can think of, and then what behavior do those emotions incite in you or incline you to what activity that emotion inclines you to do. So take a few minutes and fill out this chart, make it yourself, and then see the activity that goes along with this, where you'll summarize what's on this chart and submit it as one of your assignments for this week.